Okay, I didn't actually buy a pig or a pig farm, but I am trying to buy my next snake and rodent facility, and I'm going to tell you all about it tonight. I'm going to go through the whole process of how it came to be, who I've talked to, all that good stuff. We'll pick it all apart, and then I also want to explore the idea of selling on a variety of platforms. Are we too narrow focused in the industry? Stick around. I tell you all about it tonight. What's going on, guys? It is 7 o'clock here in Minnesota. It's 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and I'm all solo tonight. And I got to tell you that my audio is just a little bit messed up, so I'm going to fix it really quickly here. And then we'll be right back in the game here. So thanks for being here tonight. I am flying solo. I just completed my 4th show in October, and I still have another one to go. So I've been so far behind since Tinley. And then this whole thing with this property and building came up, figuring out financing, all of that stuff that I'm going to talk about tonight. So it's really eaten into some of my marketing time and all of that. But I think it's great content. And I learned some just really, really good lessons in this process. I've bought I say plenty, like I'm some sort of, real estate baron. I bought a few houses in my day, and I've almost always for the past 15, 18 years had a rental property up until last year when we left Florida and I divested all of that. But anyhow, I have some experience in it, but I still learn new stuff, and it came from this community. And so anyway, I want to share that stuff with you tonight. A couple announcements first. Like I say, I'm flying solo, so I try and talk to the camera so that I'm a little bit more engaging. But what it does is it means that it's hard for me to look at all of the comments. So I will try and catch up with all the comments, and then periodically I'll just take a second and catch up, because I definitely want you guys to comment and get your input, because it's a pretty exciting time and a little bit of a scary time as well. It's like one of those things where you think about it, you dream about it, you plan about it. You get a podcast on Tuesday nights and you tell people that that's what you're going to do. And then the opportunity is right in front of you. And you're like, what do I do? So I'll take you through all of that. So bear with me on the comments. I'm not ignoring them. And if I miss anything really profound, just message me after the show, message me during the show, whatever you want. Just get my attention however you like. Okay. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it very, very much. It was great to see everybody that came out this weekend. I was at the La Crosse, Wisconsin Scaled Up Expo, and that was on Saturday. On Sunday, I was in Hastings at, I'm going to mess it up, I think it's called the Wings, Tails, and Scales show. Maybe that is it. Wings, Scales, and Tails, something like that. But it's like an exotic pet show, but that's put on by Snake Discovery. And predictably, the crowd was good. It was a good show. It's a good, reliable show. I like doing it. It's right in my hometown, 30 minutes from home. One day, in, out, boom. Animals aren't even out overnight. It's wonderful. So thank you all. It's good to see you there. Shout out to Zivs Exotics. If you guys aren't following them, do a little solid. Go over to Instagram, go a little follow to Zivs Exotics. They're up way north of the city. So it was like a 3-hour drive. They came down for the show. It was really cool. So good to see you guys. That's Rob and Crystal. So thank you. Yeah, Rick coming in with the assist. Wings, tails, and scales. All right. I had the the animal parts on there. So and if you clicked on the thumb, or if you clicked on the show because of the thumbnail, that show is actually where I found the pig. That was a cute little pig. I was like, usually I'm pretty controlled or even keel, and I was just like, I didn't even hesitate. I was like, oh my gosh, can I hold your pig? And the woman was like, yeah, sure. Here you go. And I was like, all right, take a picture of me. So it was a cute little pig. I don't know anything more about that or how, pig ownership works. It's not for me. Don't worry. I'm not getting into pigs. but there does seem to stick around. There is kind of a running theme of pigs in this episode, in this story. So it is kind of fitting that it was a pig there. So yeah, that was a long thank you, but thanks to everybody at Lacrosse and Snake Discovery. That was a good weekend. I appreciate it very, very much. And October is shaping up to be a nice month. If you ever wonder about the finances, P&L, profit and loss, what the actual numbers look like in both my Proper Royals Patreon and Small Town Exotics from Shane Kelly. Shane and I do a Patreon only, audio only podcast once a month. And one of the segments that we always do is we pick apart each other's revenue, where the money coming in came from and what it was, exact dollars, all that stuff, full transparency. And then the money going out, what it was and how much was left at the end of the month. So if you're into that kind of stuff, my Patreon starts at $7 a month. I think Shane starts at $5. I think I bring $2 more, but who knows? Maybe Shane's a smarter man than I am. Anyhow, be glad to have either of y'all, have you hang out at either Patreon. This weekend I'll be in Fargo, North Dakota, and that's a neat little study in and of itself, because Lord knows I'll go do a show. Like I'm not saying that I'm particularly insightful or choosy on the shows that I do. I enjoy doing them and building my business. I feel like it's a necessary thing right now, although I probably will tick down a little bit in 2025. But I have a friend and a colleague locally, and he does less shows than I do. And admittedly, he does higher end animals than I do and that stuff. Anyway, he says, yeah, I'm going to go do the Fargo show. And I was like, that doesn't seem like you. You don't even do like some of the shows in town here. Why are you going to go? It's 4 hours to Fargo. And this was kind of a cool study in metrics. He goes, it's one show a year. They only do it once. And there's not another show within 4 geographic hours of travel of Fargo. I was like, I think I'm going to go do the Fargo show. So I'm going to go check it out. I don't know. It looks well run. It looks well done. And actually, I'll put out some posts, and I'll do a Facebook ad for it tomorrow and all that, try and help drive some traffic as well. But I am looking forward to that. And it's another state. I've never been to North Dakota, and so I'll check it out. If you're in the neighborhood, love to see you. So I'll be in Fargo. Then the following weekend, I will be in Des Moines, Iowa. And then I'm done with the string of 6 shows in 5 weeks. And I'm going to get a little home time. Unfortunately, that weekend that I'm doing the home time is NARBC St. Louis. So definitely should go for that. I saw an NARBC post today that 6 tables had come available. I don't know if they still are or not, but I did see that post. So if you're looking to get into the NARBC world, it might be a great, like, hey, here's the opportunity, jump at it kind of thing. You could check that out. I don't have the schedule finalized for the next week, but I could tell you in November, got a couple heavy hitters. Antoine from DPR Cold Blood, I met at Tinley in person. It was great to meet him and Emily, and either Antoine and Emily or just Antoine. One of the one or both will be on the show in November. And then likewise, Snake Discovery, Emily and Ed, Emily or Ed, Emily and Ed, and maybe just Emily. Anyway, they're going to be on the show in November as well. So I got a good lineup already cooking for November, and I promise to fill it out. Those of y'all that are watching that we did talk about at Tinley, you being on the show, I just haven't had a chance to reach out to you. This whole real estate deal has taken all of my attention, and I just tend to, if I see a target, I tend to block everything else out. And sometimes that's to the detriment of other things. But I needed to get this thing done. Time was a little bit of the essence. So that's that. I also, here's how out of whack I am. I didn't even get a chance to do laundry with my chef's coats. So I grabbed my freshest, cleanest REDLINE shirt and threw it on for the show tonight. Normally I would have my chef coat on, but it's up in the laundry getting dry, so I couldn't even throw that on tonight. But I want to say thank you very much to the advertising partners. I had to learn how to use these buttons. Check this out. Boom, right there. We could do a little logo spot that way. The only problem with me doing a solo show is that I don't get to stick an advertiser, all the logos up there. So I could put those out for a little bit. But I want to say thank you to them. It just so happens that I guess it's been 2 years now. 2 years ago, October was when I really kind of put the pedal down to start securing some of these agreements and trying to bring value to these customers. And so it's become annually that October is when several people renew. And then by luck, another advertiser said, "Hey, I want to settle up everything for the foreseeable future." So through into 2026, some people have committed, and I'm just so thankful and humble. I'm not going to say who, because I don't want to be like, oh, they're spending money. That's not the point. It's a point of gratitude, and I'm proud to work with them. So if you could get a chance to check out any of the sponsors that you maybe are not following on, whether it be Instagram, Morph Market, if they have a YouTube, it doesn't cost anything, and it literally allows me to come bring this content every week. So if you enjoy the show, the least you could do is check them out. I'm not going to say you have to follow them. Of course, that'd be silly anyway, but give them a follow if you like what they're doing and appreciate it. So thanks for listening to that. I'll tell you more about them later when we take a break. All right, let's get in the meat and potatoes of this thing. So I told bits and pieces of some of this story, or like the origin of this story, really for the past year, but I'll take you all the way back. We leave Florida September of last year, and we come to Minnesota. And the whole original idea between myself and Kelly, my wife, was that we'd be a little more ruraler, or have a little bit more land. And most of the houses here, I don't know about all the Midwest, but in Minnesota, it's very common. If you're outside of the immediate city, it's very common that you would have like a detached garage, you would have another outbuilding, and they call these buildings sheds. And like, I'm from Florida, where if you have a shed, it's just like full of wood and not rats that you're growing, like unwanted vermin. But these sheds here are like insulated, heated floors, bathrooms. Like, I really think these are just like guys get in trouble and get sent to the doghouse, and this is where they go live for a little while. So they're really nice. But anyway, the idea was to get a little hobby farm kind of deal with a couple extra buildings, and that would be the future of properroyals in those buildings. Well, this house was just perfect. The neighborhood was better. Our son at the time was 11. We wanted a community around our son. We wanted a neighborhood. We wanted the whole, like, Wonder Years, you go ride your bike, just be in before dark where the street lamps come on, or whatever the cliche is, And so the house was better. So what we did was we outfitted this basement, and then I actually had a shed like I was describing. It literally was a wood shed. I cleared that out. I insulated it. I wired it a little bit. And then I put a few rodent racks in there. And that's the properroyals operation as we know it right now. All that's well and good, but as you grow and the bio load of hundreds of snakes in the basement, you can imagine that maybe it was a good time to enter into the mindset that we probably were going to need a different place. And so that's been on my radar for a little bit, and I didn't really know how to go about it. I know about rental residential properties, but I don't know about commercial properties. I couldn't get my head around wanting to rent a place because the needs are so specialized. Like, I need a commercial sink. I need lots of cleaning and drying rack spaces. I mean, I really need it almost set up like a commercial kitchen is what I want. I need it to be, able to be cleaned and spotless and all of that. And then I would have to find a landlord that was down with, a bunch of snakes in their property. And then, oh, by the way, I'd like to move in thousands of rodents as well. And like really like 5 to 10x that operation. Let's just say the ideas were not all that well received around town. But one of the things that I've really found that always works, whether it be in getting music connections, gigs in bars, finding, when I was times in my life when I have been looking for work or looking for new work, it's just floated out there. Somebody somewhere is going to know somebody or something. And it's intriguing enough conversation where if you feel like, hey, I'm talking to somebody that might know somebody, or they're really engaged in the town, or they've got their pulse on the fingertips, or fingertips on the pulse of a town. Anyway, I would, inevitably it would come around to, hey, what do you do? And, well, let me tell you, I breed ball pythons and rodents, and I reach hundreds, and on some platforms thousands, and on other places tens of thousands of people. And they go, wow, that's interesting. And so what ended up happening was, like I say, pigs are a theme in this show. There's a hog farmer in Minnesota, and he's about my age, and he's multi-generational hog farmer. They produce over 1 million pigs a year. He was wildly intrigued, both just for the interesting facts of, growing snakes for in a similar way that you farm hogs, basically from a production standpoint, and same with the rodents, even more. So he and I were thinking along the same lines of how many animals, specifically with the rodents, how many animals do you produce, in what square footage, how fast? Really awkward thing to say. I never really thought I'd be saying this out loud in my life. We were comparing notes on the number of nipples on a hog versus an ASF. ASFs have more, by the way. I know this now. So he got really kind of wildly intrigued, and he was like, man, let's do something together. And I was like, all right, man, if you make 1 million hogs, you probably got some money, and the insight, and he was a good guy, and we hit it off and all of that. And what ended up happening was, like 2 days after that, he came to check out the operation. Then like 2 days later, he calls and he's like, hey, check out this property. I think this could be your place. And I was like, man, I don't need this guy buying property, or whatever. Like, this is too much too soon. Well, sure enough, I go to check it out, and I'm like, this is, I could see this happening. And I said at the very beginning of the show, if you weren't listening, or you weren't tuned in just yet, it's really crazy, because sometimes in life, like, you dream about things, you work towards being prepared for it, for the opportunity to come up. And then it lands right in front of you, and you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, you get paralyzed. You're like, oh no, this just got really real, really, really fast. So that's kind of what happened with the property. And I'm going to Tarantino this just a little bit. I'll tell you that the story ends with, I made an offer on it today. Obviously, to make an offer, you got to come up with the money. And I'm not going to give the exact amount today, because the deal isn't done. And what I want to do is probably in the Patreon, or at least in follow up and vaguely, but at somewhere, I want to pick apart the actual deal, the actual numbers, how it's going to work, what the cash flow is going to be, all that stuff. But I don't know any of that stuff yet. We're only at the offer stage. So let's just say I had to come up with enough. I had to come up with 90% of what I actually paid for my first house in 2008 for this facility. So I didn't, and I don't know about you, but I didn't have that to write. I didn't have that money just to write a check for. So I thought that the hog farmer said that he wanted to partner, and we didn't really get into discussing what that would look like. But at the same time, I'm looking at this facility. So we get talking about it, and I'm just going to leave it at the moment. It was pretty clear to see that we weren't on the same page. Everything had been vague, and maybe he had one vision or no vision, or maybe he was just excited and wanted to hang out with a dude that farms snakes. I'm not sure. I want him as a resource and all that, but it became clear that it probably wasn't a good fit for us to be partners. So I had this optimism well up when I thought, well, this guy's going to have the resources, and I can finance this properly through him and pay him properly, and all of that kind of thing. And that didn't come to fruition. So I had to get down to work of what was going to happen. So in the midst of all of that, so I've decided that the place is really good. I'm going to tell you about the place too here in a minute, but I want to keep on with this point that I'm getting to. I wanted the place. I wanted the facility. I thought I was up for having a partner, but I wasn't 100% sure. And what I decided was, I'm going to get every bit of feedback that I can from every person that the people that I really respect the very most. Now, if I didn't call you, it doesn't mean I don't respect you. I'm talking about people that have partnerships, that probably have made six-figure investments in their facilities, people that have stood the test of time in the industry, spending big. Like, this is, you guys know me, you watch the show. How many times do I say I don't have six figures to go throw at this? Okay, maybe it's getting to be that time. So I talk to those people, and again, I got to keep the names private because they're private conversations. But you could probably imagine, you could make yourself a list. Who would you call of maybe people that you look up as financial experts in the industry? This industry is neat because almost everybody started at something else. Almost nobody's like a second generation, ball python breeder. Like, we all had some other career that allowed us the luxury and the livelihood to get into this and make a go at this. So I talked to somebody who was a banker. I talked to somebody who, has many partners and many big investments. I wanted to get their take on it. I talked to another person that I thought similarly of. I talked to somebody who's really, I don't even think that they breed, but I really love their business mind, and I had done business with them before as well. So I started getting this picture, and the themes were, the facility is probably going to help you, but of course it's big overhead, so you got to get some favorable terms. But the other theme was both, do you need a partner? One, and two, if you need a partner, what is that partner going to bring, and how can they really, really help you? And think long and hard about it, because it's going to cost you a lot of money, and it might cost you part of your business. And that could be a good thing. There's the, I hate to even bring up Shark Tank, because I really love Shark Tank, but it's also not quite reality. And I don't think it's what we should base business expectations on. But I think Mark Cuban has a saying that's like, do you want 100% of a grape or 70% of a watermelon? Well, if we can make a watermelon, I'll take 70%. That'd be cool. But like I say, there was a couple moments where I was like, I don't think we're on the same page. And if we're not on the same page, this is way, way too big to screw around with. Right. So I set out to figure out how to do it on my own. And I called, so yeah, do I need a partner? And then second, what could they bring? And one of the conversations I had was, yeah, okay, this guy knows how to farm. He's probably going to have some distribution knowledge. He's probably going to have some truck resources and contacts. But you live in a farming community. Everybody's got distribution resources. Everybody's got, an industrial HVAC contact. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of right. And then they go, what does he know about snake and rat farming? Don't ask the hog farmer. Go ask the best snake farmer and the best rodent farmer in your region. And I was like, yeah, that's what I need to be doing. So then I set out to call some colleagues and some friends and just float things off of them, whether it be from, hey, what do I need to look for on an exhaust pipe? What am I missing here? What ratios of rodents work best in what bins? I went all the way back to that level. What would be the, and again, I'll describe the facility in a minute, but if you had this facility, what would you outfit and that sort of thing? So I went all the way through that, and what I landed on, and I ended up calling the person with the banking expertise. And I was really encouraged. The questions of, do you need a partner? The flip side of that is, how do you do this without a partner? So that's a big financial question as well. And so I had to set out and figure that out to where I wouldn't go bankrupt or homeless or put my family in jeopardy or anything like that. So when the dust settles on all the finances, I will share that. But I figured it out. I got this very morning, I got approved for the financing that I wanted. And it's very favorable for me. So I didn't go with the private equity. I don't have to give up any part of my business. I think I'm still on really good terms with the hog farmer. I still think I could call him up and go, hey, what do you know about this as far as city ordinances go? Or what do you know about this, about the county? Or what do you know about a temperature controlled transport truck, that sort of thing. And yeah, Rick's going to go ahead and take a little bit of responsibility here too. No, Rick, you were one of the very first people that were just like so encouraging when I first got here to Minnesota. So I got no problem with giving you a little dose of credit there too. So I think that hog farmer can be, and I don't want to say his name and family name. You'd all go Googling him and blah, blah, blah. I think he could be a very good resource, a good colleague, great guy to go, hey, let's go grab a beer and, talk through this kind of thing. And I think that that's probably where the healthy part of our relationship will be. So I'm at the point right now where, I forgot to mention too, man. How do I want to put this? Realtors in general sometimes get a really bad rap. And other realtors are the ones that cause all the realtors to have a bad rap. And I'm not sure which one I've got yet. And that's not a good thing. There's new laws. There was a lawsuit that took place. I'm not going to dive real deep in this, but basically the unintended consequences of the lawsuit and how the industry changed means that they have these even more ironclad contracts. And if time is of the essence, you just got to take the realtor that lands in front of you, and you're just like, just come on, let's go. I got to get going on this property. So anyhow, we'll see what he does for me. I'm still playing nice at the moment, but I might get a little kitcheny on him if we need to come morning. We'll see, but maybe I'll get a little notification in here along the way during the show, and I'll have news to break. We'll see. But anyway, I've put in the offer, and we'll see what happens. I will share this with you. It's a cash offer, and it's 90% of the listing price. That's kind of what you take these, I think. I mean, and it's commercial property. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, nobody's, breaking down the walls to go buy commercial property these days. So it's zoned commercial. Let me tell you about the property. It's zoned commercial. It's in a town just south of here. I'm going to give you a little bit of geography just because it plays an important part in this pricing. There's the Twin Cities. There's the central, Minneapolis on one side of the river, the west side of the river, the east side of the river is St. Paul. And as you can imagine, as you get further from that city center, the cost of commercial property goes down. If you're commercial, you probably want more foot traffic. The price of the property goes down, and really what goes down is the rents, and that drives the price of the property down. So I live south of town, and if I go north, I'm going closer to the cities, and property gets more expensive as you get closer to the cities. In the town that I live in is also not particularly inexpensive, if I can use a double negative and still convey the idea that it's, as we say in the Midwest, it's a little spendy. That's a new expression I'm working on using properly. It's expensive here. So I had to get out of town, and I went down, it's a 12-mile commute now, and it's just south of town and of my town. And but it came in at the right price. Here's the details on this thing and what I really love about it and the opportunities that I think will come with it. It's a 2-story building, but one of the stories is a basement. It is, and when I say it's a basement, it's deep underground. It's completely underground. The whole thing is completely underground. And not only underground, it's way underground. There's 2 flights of stairs from the main floor down to the basement level. When you get into the basement level, you look up and you see that they're 12-foot ceilings. That's why it took 2 levels of stairs to get down. And getting into the lower level, there's a bank vault door, a literal bank vault. I said to the realtor, what in the hell went on in this building that they needed to be 2 stories underground, 12-foot ceilings, and a bank vault? And he said it used to be a fur processing factory. And why that's important is, well, it's interesting because it's just a neat piece of history. But why that's important is it was underground to moderate temperatures. And not only was it underground moderating the temperatures, that is one big walk-in cooler, 1,200 square feet of insulated walk-in cooler space. Now, that was for refrigeration. I'm going to put heat in there and get it up to 78 degrees. But the insulation is already there and it's underground. This should be a pretty efficient place for rodents and snakes. I'm going to wall it off and subdivide it. The other cool thing is that when the pelts or the furs came in, they had to be fumigated to get any of the mites or insects or bugs or whatever else would be. So they would fumigate the whole room and then turn on these massive exhausts. There's two 12-inch exhaust pipes that go all the way to the ceiling, all the way through the top floor already in the basement in this facility there. So immediately I'm like, holy cow, insulation, temperature control, and an efficient model, and the exhaust is already in there. And it's very, very, very high ceiling. So I could do kind of the Billy model of the rolling stairs if I want one day. Not immediately. I don't need to build. Trust me, there's plenty of floor space where I don't need to go to the 12 feet high, which could be a little bit of a liability on getting the air circulation and the temperature. But I think that'll be offset by the efficiency of the room and the temperature moderation underground. Yeah, Rick, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to have to get into like prepping, you know. I'm not so sure about nuclear bunker, but you know, if we got trouble coming, we'll have a little party there at the properroyals facility, you know. So the downside is that there's not an elevator or a dumbwaiter. I'm going to have to figure out how to get things down there. And it's so old school. This facility dates back to the 40s as the fur trapping thing, or the fur processing thing. At the top of the stairs, there's actually a little platform, and it's got this old school pulley system, a literal ropes and wheels and pulley system where you can lower down like a cargo net or a platform that gets strung up, can lower that down. So I can't get my racks in that way. I'm going to have to disassemble the racks and move them down, but I could get bedding and things like that down that way. The other thing I want to do is, it is on a grade, and there is the back wall there is some daylight, but I think it's up top. So one thing I've learned in this farming community is that there's agricultural conveyors. And what I really want is a way to convey the waste up and out. So I might cut in a window or even a door and then get a conveyor and, you know, fling the waste out of there right into a dumpster or something. That's all down the line. That's going to take some serious money and that kind of stuff. So, but that's the downside of it. The upside is that whole 1,200 square foot is going to be great temperature controlled. There's floor drains in it. There's plumbing down there. I do have to tie into my sink. I'm going to get a second sink. And it's 1,200 square feet. It's 30 by 40 down there. And it's pretty cool. If this goes, it'll be a great place to film and run content from as well. So I'm excited about that. What's upstairs, you ask? I would own the upstairs of the building too. The upstairs is zoned commercial. It's a storefront, and I don't have a use for it. I mean, I have a use for it. I'm going to rent it, but I'm going to rent it to whoever can have a use for it. So that brings rental income potential. The rents aren't particularly high, but the financing I got, the rent on the upstairs would cover 80% of the operating overhead of the whole building before I sell a snake or advertising or a rodent or anything like that. So it's all pretty favorable. Now, it takes getting a renter. I know that. And it takes getting a renter that'll put up with the smell of rodents and snakes, inevitably wafting upward, I'm sure. So what's neat though, is this sort of like self-perpetuating strategy. So in calling people, it was funny. After having those phone calls, I've gotten 2 return phone calls who said, hey, I might be interested in doing something with that space, or I might be interested in utilizing a portion of that building and providing some opportunity for that building. Just from asking questions, it cultivated interest in the place. So words are one thing, actions are another. I can't rent the place if I don't own it. So it's not even that the people don't intend to follow through on their actions. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying I'm in a holding pattern. I can't do anything, but it seems that there's another good lesson. Meet people, talk to people, ask for their input, learn, do a show on Tuesday nights for 3 years and meet every person you can in the industry that you respect. all of those things. And here I am. So I'm pretty stoked about that stuff. One thing that I think is important to note as well, it could be overwhelming to think about hundreds of thousands of dollars, but financing is all about cash flow. And cash flow is the idea that if you could get your expenses low enough where your income exceeds your expenses, then you don't really care how many hundreds of thousands of dollars it is. Can you get by month to month with more coming in than what's going out? Because if you can, A, obviously you could feed yourself, but B, you can reinvest along the way as well. And I think that's true. You know, say you start out, you don't have to start out with $100,000. You can start out with 4 females and 1 male, get a little cash flow going, reinvest it, do it again, reinvest it, do it again. You could do it that way and get there and never go into debt that way, and never jeopardize everything that you've worked so hard for along the way too. Now, there's obviously many other ways to do it. That's just what's worked for me and what my style is. So I'm not giving any lectures. I'm just saying that's my thing. Yeah, Morford says, might work out nice to have a small shop of your own there, showcase the animals, sell the ASF overload, everyday products, hides, containers, shipping materials. It could. I know that retail is a brutal game. And honestly, I'm going to have enough trouble managing 1,200 square feet of whatever I do down there and all the things it's going to take to get going. I'm thinking a 2-year lease out of the gate to somebody else and let them just pay me, and I don't have to do the extra work and all of that. I have experience as a landlord, again, residential, not commercial, but that would be the initial thing. So again, so that I have some cash flow and I can focus on my animals and where I want to grow. I don't actually really like retail, as greedy as that sounds. I don't like, buying a hide, marking it up 100% and then selling it. It's just not enough. And that sounds bad, but 100% isn't enough when it comes to an $8 or a $10 hide or whatever the merch might be. One day though, I would love to. And the other thing I like about the idea is I can have people over. I can do events with 1,200 square feet downstairs. I can absolutely see a world where we do events at the shop, and it becomes, a little bit of a community center. Lord knows the security is going to be good. You can't get into the place. And there's a vault. I even asked the guy, I was like, what happens if that door locks behind me? He goes, we do get cell signal down here. I was like, does the fire marshal know how to get in here though? Does he know, do they know the code? And he was like, I don't know. I was like, well, don't shut that door then, pal. So that's interesting, but I probably just want to focus on getting the animals settled first. I do like the idea of having a shop, and I probably, no matter what, upstairs will probably build my office and a meeting area and like a welcoming area. So I still would set aside a little bit of that upstairs for myself as well. Yeah, Sundog says the dream scenario is I lease to a pet store. You got that right. That's the ideal situation. I hinted at it earlier. There is one person that called and said we could do something there and tie you in. So maybe that's there. But yeah, a pet store, dog grooming. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows what people do out there in the world? But I'll be pretty flexible. I'll tell you that, because I'll be looking for a renter. The quicker I could get that rented to a reasonable person, the better off I'll be. And like I say, 2 years, get everything situated, get the cash flow going, get downstairs really cranking, and that business model situated. And then I would look at maybe taking back over the upstairs. Then again, I might like the renter so much that it just it works for me. So what notes did I miss here? Yeah, I think the core of that story was the relationships though. If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, Adam, are you going to come up with, let's just say, ballpark 200 grand out of nowhere, I would go, no, that's not in the cards. It's not going to happen. It can happen. It was a lot of problem solving. It was a lot of blocking everything else out and going, all right, how do I make this work? And not only how do I get the money, but how do I do it so that I'm not afraid of, I think we do well when we're a little bit outside of our comfort zone and there's a little bit of pressure on us. And in general, I'll say I do very well that way. I get a little complacent if not, and it's a really bad character trait where I have to be almost terrorized to like go crush things. So I perpetually am like terrorizing myself in my mind. That's not healthy. I'm not saying to do that, but you also could get to where you're so overwhelmed and you're so like, oh no, what have I done, that you're I hate to use the word slave, but you're really a slave to this thing. And then you come to resent it and you come to hate it. The numbers that I got things to are doable. They're doable on what I'm doing right now this year on 2024 numbers. It's not doable if I 5X in the next 3 years. I want to 5X in the next 3 years. Then I'll be thrilled and all my wildest dreams will have come true. But I'm not going to lose all my money and I'm not going to jeopardize everything I worked for if I don't. So that's why, and that goes back to what More Forge was saying. That's really why it makes more sense for me most immediately to go ahead and get a renter, and let's go ahead and get where I'm cash flow positive, even if it's a penny. I'm not month to month. I'm not losing money. It's not taking money out of my pocket. I'm not going into debt each month. I've got to get to that level first, and I've got to get there pronto. Like I say, I could do it with what I'm doing right now with 2024 numbers, and I expect to continue to be able to at least do that baseline. But I still have to go do it, and I still got to go make that happen, and I've got to go through all the transition. And who knows? They might say, pound sand, get out of here. We're not selling to you. I don't know. I really can't imagine that they don't look very, very closely at an offer that's 90% of their asking price, and it's cash and it's commercial property. But I don't know. I've learned a long time ago, my rational thoughts don't always translate into the world. And when I say my rational thoughts, that's what I perceive as rational thoughts. Others think it's very irrational sometimes. So, yeah, there's a little spot at the sponsors there. That's the only bad part about doing the solo shows. I can't get the advertisers up there. So take a look at those folks. What else is in here in the comments? I'm just going back and forth here. I think I got them. Yeah, I think I'm caught up on those. So yeah, it's really a relationships message, man. The opportunity of the people that have supported the show, the audience, the chats. I learned so much even just from the chat comments. And those of y'all that are active, it means the world to me. And it's literally giving me the confidence to figure out this deal and to dream bigger and to keep going. So I look forward to sharing more of this with you. Like I say, for sure on Patreon, we'll pick apart every single penny. I'll probably give an overview on the shows, or maybe I'll pick it apart with Joe a little bit on a Thursday morning show. But I will pick every bit of the deal apart. Once it's all settled, I'll pick that apart with the Patreon. So hope to see you all there. It's as good a time as any. Let's do these advertisers. And after this, I want to get into the topic of selling on multiple platforms. It's truly not a anti-morph market topic or pitch, regardless of what anybody thinks personally of anybody at Morph Market or anything specific about Morph Market. I'm talking more of the concept of one central marketplace or a variety of marketplaces that really, anyhow, let's talk through that. Then we'll get to the end of that after I tell you about these. So as you all know, REDLINE Shipping, in my estimation, provides the very best customer service in the shipping industry, most knowledgeable, most tuned in, tied in. There's more to it than just selling a label. I'm not diving back into that debate. That's just my pitch and my very, very firm belief. I will tell you personal, completely true story this week. I had it might have been last week. It's only Tuesday. It's probably last week. I had a package delayed in Memphis, and it said it was on its way, but it never showed that it departed Memphis. I called REDLINE that morning. They said, no, it's still in Memphis. It says it's on the way, but it's not. It's still there. I said, okay, nothing to do about it. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for confirming. So first things first, I got to talk to a human. I got to talk to a stateside human that actually works for REDLINE and somebody that has animals and works with animals. Go through the day. I see, oh my goodness, it's 6:45 at night and the local FedEx shipping hub closes at 7:30 and it's in Minneapolis. Wow. Okay. We call back REDLINE, 6:45 at night, Central Time. I call and I get the representative of REDLINE. Again, different person, different human being. And they say, you know what? Let me find out, because I said, hey, I'll go to the airport and get them. I'll go to the shipping hub and get them. Sometimes, you know, the scan isn't up to the second. Anyway, you can find out where it is. Yes. Call up. Hey, you know what? It's bad news, but it's still at the airport. And it's not only that it's at the airport, it's still in the cargo container. What happens is the container comes in and they pull open the container and they sort it all out. It has not been opened. They're not going to open it tonight. Okay, so all bad news, but that level of detail isn't going to come from an email to customer service. I'll tell you that. The other thing that happened is that I bought the lowest tier of insurance from REDLINE Shipping, and it was delayed. It was not on time, and I got my shipping money back. I told that story in the Patreon, and somebody, and it's okay, it's not me throwing stones at them. They said, well, that's kind of the Adam treatment. It's not the Adam treatment. I don't say I'm Adam at properroyals when I call. You know what Robin would say if I called Robin and was like, go find my package? He'd go, it's not me. You go call customer service, you fool. And I call customer service. I just tell them my tracking number. I say my name. And that was it. It was late. They refund it. If you look at some of the other insurance offerings in the industry, it has to be late and dead before you get your money back. Why? And it caps out at $250. Not so good. Anyhow, what I'm saying is I'm a fan, and there's more to just price sometimes. So give them a shot. Use the promo code PROPER5. You're going to get yourself $5 off your next shipping label. Shedtesting.com. Also, I just love what Charlie's doing. Talk about customer service, speed, urgency, and care for the customer. He's the guy doing the test. He's the guy developing tests. I talked to good friends this over Tinley. They didn't realize Charlie was developing his own tests. Charlie is researching and developing his own tests. He's working with some of the best breeders around the world, not just the country, around the world, on developing all the tests that you want to see. So check out shedtesting.com to see what tests are available. Charlie himself will get you the results just as fast as possible, and it's very, very fast, I promise you. And it's much simpler. You don't have to go through a third party. You go to shedtesting.com, you buy the test, you send in the little PDF filled out file of what your animal is and what you want it tested for. Thanks. That's it. That's all you got to do. Use the promo code PROPER15 and you're going to get 15% off of 2 orders of shed tests, and you can order as many individual tests in those orders as you want. So check that out. All of the information is on the banners down below on those promo codes on the advertising screen, but it's also in the description down below as well. I know that this one guest solo head talking head is not conducive to the advertisers on some of those promo codes. RGen Reptiles, that is Robbie, Richard, and Greer, South Carolina. First off, another excellent person to do business with. I've done business with them personally before. I'm looking literally right now at his Morph Market page, and I see double het zebra clown ingredients. How about an Orange Dream Fire female double het zebra clown? Boom, that's pretty happening animal. Krypton, visual Krypton with codoms, double het DG and Pied. That's RGen Reptiles. You can check that Morph Market page out right now. Singles, doubles, triples, ingredients, all those sorts of things. I'm looking at a visual blackhead orange dream clown that is het DG. That's a male. He'll be ready to go very soon to get into your rotation. So check out RGen Reptiles when you get a chance on Morph Market. Also, rgenreptiles.com. If you email Robbie, he'll put you on his email list. Doesn't cost anything, and you get first dibs on all the animals. You get some buyer perks and that kind of stuff. So he's got his own little community on the email list. Doesn't cost you anything. Check it out. Danny and Renee Rocha, thank you so much. You guys are great. I can't wait to do business with you all for a long time in the future. Great people to do business with. I don't know if you all saw some of their clown clutch that they hatched this week. I don't know what the genes are in it. If I were to guess, I would say some acid, maybe orange stream, leopard, red stripe kind of stuff. And I'm sure that there's double hets in there. But what I do know is I got this message right before the show. The next project that they'll be posting on Morph Market, so this will be coming up very shortly, is True Ghost. They say we have both double hets and VPI het hypo, possible het pied, but credit to them, they're waiting to post it until they get the shed test results back from Charlie. So you'll know there won't be any pos. It'll be yes or it'll be no on that. So there'll be some double and triple True Ghost pied stuff coming up. If you're interested in that, just reach out to them directly ahead of time and you can get some more details before it posts live onto Morph Market. That is Portuguese pythons. Ball Labs in Aurora, Colorado. That is Trevor. He's working with every gene he can get his hands on. Puzzle, Ultramel, Clown, VPI Xanthic, Tri-Stripe, Monsoon, Zebra, and Sunset. Trevor also likes working with some genes that maybe are less worked with or forgotten genes from little bit time past that maybe haven't seen the best of the current combo availability and that kind of stuff. So I like that idea of keeping genes alive, but also exploring what's already there, not forgetting about genes and working them into modern day combos. Plus, like I say, I mean, he's working with killer stuff, Monsoon, Zebra, Sunset, Puzzle, Tri-Stripe, just to name a few. And he's doing things the right way. If you need rodents in Colorado, Trevor's one of the very few licensed and inspected rodent breeders in all of Colorado. Technically, you're supposed to have that inspection and license to breed and sell rodents. Trevor's doing it the right way, and he has that. Last but not least is Chris at B and S Reptilia. Chris is my vending partner at Tinley. And he's been a great resource, a great friend, a great colleague, a mentor at times for me as well. Chris specializes in all sorts of reptile species. That's why it's called Reptilia. So there is ball pythons, blood pythons, locality boas. I learned what I'm going to mess it up. Atara humara boa. We had some of those on the table at Tinley. I don't know if he has any left. He had some left at the end of Tinley, but he's had a show since then. But if you're interested in know what that means, check out Chris. He also has a wide selection of Pituophis, the pine snakes and the bull snakes. And in Illinois, he had the right permits so that we could have those at Tinley as well. So get in touch with Chris if he can help you on any of those. He's also the regional distributor of the Chipper Cocoa. So thanks to all the advertisers, and they truly are business partners. Thank you all so much. Audience, I know it's not easy to sit through me rambling through that, but those are special people, and give them a shot if you don't mind, if you would, please. Also, at the bottom, and this is really important, this is not a paid advertisement. This is nothing but just something that is special to me. You will find a link down in the description for the Dr. Tom Harbin Scholarship Fund link. And it occurs to me, I think I set the show up last night and I did not fully populate the description. I will do that immediately after the show tonight. My apologies if you go looking for any information that's not there. It will be there in just a moment. But the Dr. Tom Harbin Scholarship Fund Endowment, I'm mixing up words. It is an endowment through Auburn University, is managed by a third party. It's not managed by the Harbins. It's in the memory of Dr. Tom Harbin. It'll support medical veterinary students that attend Auburn University, and it'll be a scholarship fund. It is an endowed scholarship. That means the seed money that is invested will always be the seed money, and the dividends are what are distributed. And ideally, that seed money grows over time through donations from people like you and I. And if it's $1, $5, $100, or $5,000, I think what an enduring testimony to Dr. Harbin that would be. So consider that, please. There we go. Thank you. My soapbox is put away, and now we get back to just some fun discussions. If you have any comments, any questions, Rick brought it up. Yeah, that's the white glove treatment. They do it for everybody. That's not the Adam treatment. That's the REDLINE treatment. If you have any questions, comments, want to jump in, any opinions on anything I say, you are welcome to give them. I don't know if I'll acknowledge them, but you're welcome. You're welcome to give them. Of course, I want you to participate. Please do. So philosophically, and I am going to get to a point here, so it's not me just rambling philosophically alone. Like, that's not good to do. At least have like a debate partner. I hear a lot, and it is tough. I hear a lot that the market's tough. Of course, the market's tough. I'm not here to tell you that it's not. I'll tell you, I won't tell you which one, but one of the shows this weekend, I sold exactly one animal, and that was a long, long day to sell exactly one animal. The market is tough. If you think I'm just out there because I got this nifty podcast and I'm just printing money with ball pythons, it's not, man. It is a grind. It is a day at work, just like any other day. It has its ups and its downs, and I'm thankful for the opportunity, but it is work. So anyway, but I hear people say, you know, nothing's moving on morph market. The market sucks. And my initial first response, and I always want to try and be as productive as I can, as encouraging as I can. But it is, well, have you tried anything else? And they go, well, there's nothing else. And there is other things. And I talk about that a lot. You can catch that on some of the prior shows or even in Patreon. But Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And you might say, but Adam, you're not allowed to sell animals on those platforms. No, you're not allowed to sell animals actively. But you could put animals out there that people comment on and start a discussion with you. You could put animals out there, maybe with some emoji icon hints in the description that give people an indication that they maybe should message you. You can flat out say, hey, this is a beautiful animal. Why don't you message me for more details about this animal? You can do that. And it's a two-pronged thing, though. You could do that all day long, but you also have to work to build your followers. So if you don't have, the smaller your reach, the less effective that's going to be. So in the beginning, I do think you should, and I have my own opinions about morph market and some of the business practices, but from a practical day-to-day standpoint, I absolutely use morph market, and I pay quite a bit of money in my eyes a year to use morph market. So I think when you're starting out, it's the best way to reach the widest net of audience. The downfall to morph market is that everybody else is advertising there. Their snakes are right next to yours. And I've used the analogy a lot that it's like a shopping mall, man. Like, you see something at this kiosk, but what's at that kiosk? Oh, there's the Apple store. Oh, there's JCPenney. What did I even come here for? I'm going to go there. And suddenly, you know, you're lost in the mix. So, yeah, I'm going to get to that comment in just a second. I like this idea. So I think cultivating both, putting as much work into your own following on social media, it's the freest advertising that's ever existed in the history of mankind, I think. Can you imagine? And I don't know. I don't have an insight on this. Steven's in the audience. And by the way, Steven, I saw you called me, and I was eating dinner and then getting ready for the show. I'll call you right after the show. I apologize for missing your call there. Speaking of right after the show, I have to feed. 1 second. Turn on my frozen thawed heater over there so that the rats are ready when the show's done. I don't know what it would have cost if you said, hey, what would the price be to reach 250,000 reptile enthusiasts that I want to sell reptiles to in a 3-month or a 6-month or a 1 month, if you have a huge following, period of time. And I don't know what that would cost. I have an idea of what it costs to put a billboard on I-40 coming out of Asheville, because the company I work for used to do that. I could tell you that billboard would happily fund my salary expectations for several years is what the cost was for that billboard. And that wasn't targeted audience. That's every person that drives by. Most of the people driving by will never play golf a day in their life, but that's what we were advertising on that billboard. So what I'm saying is it's worth your investment to try and build that. So it builds your following, it builds your brand, it gives you the practice and the reps, and you kind of get good at what you're doing as far as putting yourself out there. But as that grows, your snake offerings or your reptile offerings or your rodent offerings or whatever you're offering is going to grow as well. And you're reaching this cultivated audience that really is pretty big, man. Like I'm just now coming up on 8,000 followers on my main Proper Royals page. I have another page called Proper Pythons that's much less focused. It's just more reptile, just fun. I don't even sell much stuff on there. 153,000 followers on there. Like I can't even believe I say that out loud. Like it's nuts how many people you can engage with and do in certain ways. So those are some of the other ways that you could sell. But one thing that's really interesting to me that's coming about, and this is what I was building towards, here's another option and another opportunity that's going to be on the horizon. And just like we kind of probably take a little bit of pride, or we surprise people when they say, wait a minute, how many people are breeding ball pythons or breeding reptiles? And you show them the numbers on Morph Market and you're like, well, there's 40,000 for sale right here. And their eyes pop out, right? So when I was at the All-American Reptile Plant Expo in Castle Rock, Colorado, just outside of Denver, I was there in September. That's a plant and reptile expo. And I talked to some of the plant people and I was like, look, how do you really make money doing plants? Like it's $4 here, it's $7 there. Like you make fun of me for selling an Enchi for $60, but that's 10 of your little plant plugs or whatever. And so first they say, well, volume and it's easier, you don't need an enclosure and blah, blah, blah. You can move a lot more in volume. And I said, well, how do you reach customers? And they're like, well, there's these marketplaces. And I'm like, oh, and then I was like, oh yeah, well, we have one called Morph Market. I was like, what's yours? And they told us several things, but what they specific one that was really interesting is called Palm Street, PAM, like a palm tree, PALM Street. And it's an app and it's very, very well done. And I got to meet one of I'm not sure if he's a developer, if he's a mind behind it, but representative from Palm Street. He was there checking out plant vendors. And Palm Street, I'm going to mess up their company lines. I'm not a company representative. This is not a paid advertisement for Palm Street, nothing. This is just content for the community. It struck me as like an Instagram meets, or maybe even TikTok, Instagram, TikTok meet Etsy. So it's like this live marketplace where people can like do what I'm doing right now, except they're selling their plants. And I get talking to, his name is Jeff from Palm Street. And I'm not going to share the numbers, but the numbers and the sales that they're doing daily were mind blowing, that their vendors were doing. And I mean, like I said, I'm not sure if I'm at liberty to say the numbers, so I'm just not going to. It's a whole lot. Okay. A couple days would more than fund my little venture here that I spent the first half of the show talking about. So there's a marketplace there. And then he says, yeah, we're interested in bringing on reptiles to Palm Street. And he says, we're doing these test runs with geckos and they're going like crazy. And I was like, okay. So you drop reptiles in the middle of this plant community and start talking to some of the gecko people. And they're like, yeah, we're selling the hell out of geckos on Palm Street. I'm like, okay. So when do the ball pythons come? And Jeff says, I'm trying to get a feel and understanding for this. It's one thing to go to lizards with a bunch of plant people. Can we go full on snakes? And I told him, of course you can. Not that I was going to be any kind of deciding factor, but I did speak up. I was like, of course you can. But I think that I know that they're coming around to it. So check this out. Couple neat tidbits and some follow-ups on this topic. Last week, John from Pangea, they got one of the like test slots for geckos. Pangea goes on. Look, this is what was told to me. I'm just like playing reporter here. I feel good about the source. I feel very, very, and it's right on tune with what the other gecko breeders that I talked to in person at the Castle Rock show were saying. Pangea in 4 hours last Wednesday did more in gecko sales than they did all of Tinley weekend, and they had a good Tinley. I don't know where all these gecko buyers are. I hope that they're educated. I hope that they're not just, knee-jerk reactions, and I hope that the geckos are going to good homes. We all hope that for our industry, but we all also hope for good sales and a new way to meet new customers. And this marketplace is completely on the phone. I don't even think that there is a desktop application. Look at this. So I just got a notification because I'm learning. This is how I learn stuff. I just go do it. It's not going to focus, is it? It focuses and then it turned off. That's cute. All right. I'm going to read it to you, but that's a Palm Street ad. It says, and I don't even know who these people are, so I'm not even advocating for them. I'm just telling you what the notification is. It says AJD Reptiles is live gecko auction. You can tune in on it right away. And it looks like an Instagram or TikTok live, but there's a marketplace and there's a price attached to every item. And a lot of the things that they do are these auctions, but they're like 2-minute auctions. They're like, you want to talk about FOMO, 2 minutes, boom, they're sold. And a lot of them start with no reserve. So it's a really like, I've got to figure it out. Like part of me is like, I don't know. And then another part of me is like, I want to do better than Tinley in 4 hours on a Wednesday night. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So Tito says there's a TikTok shop. Yeah. Similar like that. Let me see here. Rick says, with the possibility of facility and the increase of space, what ball python projects will I expand to? Okay, so that's different than the Palm Street. Yeah, I'm going to I'll talk about that. That's actually, I'm going to make a note on that. Rick projects. I'll get to that in just a bit. So I think it's a good way. There was a topic or there was a discussion point earlier from Warforge and Steven saying, in this downtime, we should be building our industry. That's exactly right. We should be building new eyes, new people, new customers. And I think Palm Street is an interesting way. Now, I have no idea where it's going to go. I have no idea of what's going to happen other than there's an excitement behind it. I will be the first to acknowledge, what was the name of that site? It was like started with a V, like Velo or Vero. It was like God's reptile answer to Instagram. We were all going to be able to sell and everybody's going to be happy. And it was the newest thing. And we all went and got like an account. And like 10 days later, you never heard of it ever again. I don't know. I can't predict the future. I'm not saying I'm rooting for one or the other, but I like options for the market. I like reaching new people for the market. And this thing seems to have some wheels. So Pangea is going to go back live again on this coming Wednesday night. That's tomorrow night at 7:30 Central. Matter of fact, so that'd be 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central for I don't know if it's another 4 hours. I don't know what it is, but it was good enough that they're going to go back onto it. Here's the other thing that's interesting, and if you're like, well, what's going on here? You'll connect the dots. You know what's up. At NARBC St. Louis, if you go to Palm Street, NARBC has a what do you call it? A profile, an account, whatever it is, a persona. If you search NARBC, you have to go to people because they won't have anything live just yet. Go to people, go to follow them. Check this out. Here's going to be cool. NARBC and REDLINE Shipping are going to do live Palm Street app auctions from NARBC St. Louis. But check this out. It's going to be one episode, but there's going to be 10 different vendors. There'll be a variety of animals, a variety of merchandise, and art as well. So it's going to be 2 hours long, 10 different vendors and items, but they're going to be these 2-minute auctions. It's going to be one of these just fast rodeos that goes on Palm Street. So I got to check that out. That will be both days at NARBC, both Saturday and Sunday from noon to 2 p.m. check it out. I almost changed my plans to just go and be a part of it. But like I say, that would be my 7th weekend in a row out of the house. And then I have Kansas City the next weekend. And I was like, I just gotta stay home. I got to get a little home and Adam time. So I'm interested and intrigued by this Palm Street app. I'm looking forward to trying to get on there. You can apply. So there is a application process. It's a little more stringent than say Morph Market, where you just sign up for your account, and as long as you don't screw up, you don't get booted. I don't know what their approval is. I don't have that I know of. I don't have an account yet on there. So I've applied, but they say they'll call me or get in touch with me or something like that. So I think that they're vetting people. So this isn't even like Adam down low, like, oh, go check out Adam first on Palm Street. Look for me. But I, as far as I know, I did apply, but as far as I know, I'm not on there yet. And I certainly haven't uploaded any animals or marketplace. So it's totally full transparency. This is just something new that I'm intrigued by. We got to grow, we got to expand, or else we die like dinosaurs, right? That's my thought on that. Anybody have any gecko experience on there of what's going on with Palm Street? Yeah. Yeah. Jeremy and or Holly say, yeah, Run It Reptile people use it. They do. And it's under the gecko umbrella, but yeah, Hardwired Exotics has sold ball pythons on there under the Run It Reptile banner. So I have seen that. And actually I like, Tony knows what he's doing. I got no problem with that. So I'm interested. Oh, Rick has bought a lot on Palm Street. That's cool. Let's see. Soda Ball says one woman was online live for 1.5 hours just shooting the stuff, and there was an adult content warning on the screen. I did dig into the adult warning content, and apparently that's a language warning. I don't think that there's any OnlyFans action going to happen with ball pythons. I think that they are so brand conscious with Palm Street that that they'll boot you for particular language is what I think. I did dig into that a little bit. I was like, what's going on here? So the good news is you don't have to worry about any glitter coming, with your purchase, or any weird perfume explanations when it gets to the house. So yeah, sorry. Yeah. You never did see any adult content. Yeah. It's the plants, man. Rick, I'm curious as to how your experience on Palm Street is. That sounds, like I say, this whole thing sounds intriguing to me. So, check out the auctions from NARBC. Like I say, you can follow NARBC on Palm Street. I'm not hip enough to know, like say, if it's your account, your persona, your handle. I don't know. Whatever it is, NARBC on Palm Street, you can check it out. Rick asked me earlier, that was my thought on the broadening marketplaces. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Right now, I'm just like chatting and hanging out. So with the possibility of, and by the way, I'm going to do this expansion. It might not be in this building. Some things are out of my control. I'll learn from the experience. If it doesn't work, if it does work, I've got a whole lot of learning to do. If it doesn't work, on to the next place. I actually did go look and find another option, both as leverage for negotiating this one, but also as a backup option. So it's like in me now. I'm going to go figure this out. But Rick says, with the possibility of a facility and the increase in space, what ball python projects will you expand into, or just expand the current projects you're working on? First things first, I'm not actually going to expand anything on snakes until a few things happen. I got to be able to pay for the place with cash flow so I want to get rent immediately. I want to get to a rodent production where I'm not turning customers away. The past month for sure, and really 90 days, I've been declining new customers because I'm maxed out where I'm at. I don't need to be the biggest rodent breeder in the world. I don't really have a desire to be known as the world's greatest rodent breeder, although the profit margins on these things are fantastic. So if I am known as that, that'll be a-okay. but that's going to be a bridge to then getting to where I'm cash flow positive, and then I can expand and have money to reinvest into more ball pythons. I would have to look up the number, but I have spent an incredible amount of money this year already expanding. So this year we will see visual puzzles that I'll be breeding and producing those this year. Double visual clown axanthics that I've invested in and purchased quite a wide variety of more codoms that I didn't have before, powerful breeder males. Also my super gravel girls this will be the first year that they're mature, that I can really start moving forward on the super gravel project and getting recessives and other codoms into that on top of the codoms that I already have. So I'm very, very excited for that. And then I haven't announced it yet, but I did partner with somebody on an incredible investment snake. It's a female, so I can't put it to work right away, but the long-term benefits of it being a female will pay off. It's a double visual of featuring a fairly new gene, and I can't find another one that exists. I can't say that it's the only one, but as far as I know, it's the only one that I've found. So that news will be coming soon. So I kind of already have expanded on that. I know that I need immediately. I am going to get another ARS 5540 rack because a lot of my yearling girls that'll be ready to breed this time next year are going to need appropriate homes pretty soon. So I'll get that. But that's it for now. It's really tidying. It's really shoring up some of the basic practices, getting a renter in there, seeing if anything comes from these other couple business opportunities that were floated my way that would really help with cash flow. And that's the stuff that can fund the snakes. I need stuff. See, here's the thing. I could pour all the gasoline on the fire of the snakes that I want. I still have to wait for them to grow, for them to mature, and for them to produce. Even if I buy a breeder female, it could be 9 months or a year, even if she does go the first year. Well, that's 9 months. I got to figure out how to pay for the building. Whereas some of these other opportunities will provide income nearly immediately. So that's really what I'm going to be focusing on to get out of the gate. Now, all that goes well. Heck yes, I'll be expanding. I would love to have just within this time next year, I'm hoping I'm looking at pairing closer to 100 females. This year's pairings will be 55. So, I am looking that growth and expansion will continue, but it's not something that the fire's not going to get bigger no matter how much gasoline I pour on it right now. And cash flow is going to be king for me for a little bit, making sure that I get myself on my feet and just don't burn all my money up. So, long answer to a very, relatively easy question for me. Thank you. What other questions we got here? Hey, Keith, what's going on? Yeah, you are late, man. Hey, I won't share any details, but I hope everything's good with you and the family, man. Just put it that way. Okay, I don't see any more questions. Going once, going twice. Quick wrap up. Like I say, this weekend I'll be in Fargo, North Dakota. Check out Instagram and Facebook. I'll put the details of that show and the show promoter. I regret that I don't know who that is just yet. I've never done this show before, but I am excited to be there, and I am going to do some promos, and I'll do a paid advertisement spot as well for that show. So I'll see you this weekend. North Dakotans, I don't even know what you call people from North Dakota? Fargoans. I'll see you guys up there. All right. That's great news, Keith. All right, cool. I'll see you guys up there. And then the following weekend, I'll be in Des Moines, and looking forward to seeing everybody there. Stay tuned. I got Joe on Thursday morning for Proper Cup of Joe. And then, like I say, in November, I've got Antoine from DPR Cold Blood. I've got Snake Discovery. Ed and Emily themselves will be on the show. I'm pretty pumped about that. And I've got a laundry list of promises, or maybe not promises. That's a tough word. intrigue and interest from some great people at Tinley. So I promise I got a great lineup coming. Thank you all for the support. There's some 40 plus of y'all that hung out tonight pretty consistently while I ran my mouth by myself. I would love any input that you guys have. I can't wait to show you whatever facility I end in. Thank you all for helping make the dream come true. I know it sounds really cheesy, but just having this platform and this audience has led to so many opportunities for me. If I can ever help you or be of help, reach out to me. I will do my very, very best that I can. So I will leave it there. You all have a great night, and I will just say thanks for the support. I will see you this time next week. We're going to do a little bit of that. Go take care of those advertising partners, and otherwise, I'll see you out there somewhere, guys. Take care. Thanks. Bye.